Mabrika, happy International Day of the World's Indigenous People. This is a special day for you, the Kalinago people of Dominica. This year you celebrate under the theme Indigenous Youth as Agents of Change and Self-Determination. And I'd like to say thanks to you, the Kalinago community, for allowing me into your space for the purpose of my research titled Territory Commonalities Between the Reclamation of Kalinago Language and Connection to Land. Your interviews have amplified this year's theme. This podcast episode you're about to listen to was part of my major research project that featured interviews of over 10 Kalinago women and captured two of them, Dr. Velma Valmont and Vincia Casey, in a 10-minute podcast called Woryijan, Kalinago Women and Intersectionality. The entire research project, which includes a documentary, will be presented to the Kalinago people sometime this month. I would like to dedicate this podcast to the late Dr. Velma Valmont. For decades, the representation of Indigenous women have been monolithic and stereotypical in its portrayal of Native women as docile and shy. According to scholar Eliana Pagan Tate-Elbum, Indigenous women are portrayed as naive, savage, and even at times childish, or they can be seen as exotic sexualized beauties, and this is evident in how they are represented by the media. For Kalinago women, these tropes have perpetuated the way they are hypersexualized and objectified in everyday life in Dominica. The Kalinago tribe is one of the last remaining indigenous peoples in the Caribbean. With a population of just over 3,000, they have mostly settled on the northeastern part of the island on 3,700 acres of land known as the Kalinago territory on the island of Dominica. Velma is a Kalinago woman who lives in the capital city, Roseau. She moved to Roseau from the Kalinago territory a few years ago to attend medical school. But her first visit to the capital city as a teen was not a pleasant one.
I remember the first time when I went to town, I was approached by this way older man. And the fact that I did not even respond because he was being rude. I did not acknowledge him. One of the things that he said was, "Who are you?" In Creole, of course. You're thinking you're so much. You're just a Kwaib. We can do whatever we want with Kwaib women. That's what he said. Now, I will never forget that. I was just 14, mind you, 14, 15, around that age, just basically starting to go to town with your parents or your older sisters and so on. We've always been sexualized, like as objects.
Prior to 2015, Kalinago people were referred to as Caribs. The word Carib or Kwaib in Creole was their colonial name. Adrian Fraser argues that the Kalinago people wanted to get rid of the negative myths in both schools and literature that perpetuated that they are cannibals. The word Carib dispelled negative and degrading connotations. The tribe petitioned to the parliament in Dominica to end its use, and they received approval in 2015 for the name Carib to be stripped from being used to refer to them. Kalinago would reflect a better Indigenous identity. Vincia is a mom of two and an entrepreneur and has faced discrimination because she is Kalinago. She has also been called easy by non-Kalinago Dominicans.
There was a time I remember my husband and I, we went to Courts to buy a mattress. We got it. They said they would deliver it to us. When they came, my husband went outside to check them. He came inside and he told me, the guy from Courts asked him if I am a side chick. So he told him no. And he asked him why. So he told my husband, because people don't take these Kalinago women seriously. So my husband said, excuse me, that's my wife. I find that was very disrespectful. I wanted to go outside, behind him, but my husband told me just to leave him.
Naomi Bellet argues that Kalinago women remain at the bottom of the hierarchical structure of Dominica. Their community is considered one of the poorest on the island, and this influences and impacts social equality. Both Velma and Vincia experience a considerable amount of prejudice for both their race and gender.
And even in high school at Castle Secondary, we always were in trouble with the students from Grand Fort and Riviera Siri, Monjon area, Castle as well. They were always at us trying to say embarrassing stuff about who have man and who nasty and all kind of nonsense. At some point, I felt some of the teachers were involved in doing that as well. Sometimes we would be walking home from school and they would call us Quaib, Quaib smelling fresh, Quaib eating, drinking rum and eating conkles, uh, calling us carry beer, all kinds of nonsense, stupidness. I was always bold. I just find they were rude and out of their place. So I would answer them back for sure.
We would be told, okay, you're told, okay, your hair smells fresh. This is something that we always hear for Kalinago women, for Kalinago people on a whole. But these are the things that I've gone through. They would say, people would take it as in, okay, hey, because you're quiet or because you don't speak up, that you're foolish.
Some persons are very supportive. They will come to our defense in different situations. But I would say the vast majority can be, they scrutinize us, they don't appreciate us, they don't value us. Some of them can be so disrespectful. The things they say can be so demeaning sometimes. I've had some real bad experiences from just being Kalinago and walking in the street.
Kalinago people form part of the minority amongst a majority Afro Caribbean population in Dominica. A quick Google search of the tribe will reveal the faces of Kalinago women who are used to promote the island's tourism product. The tribe is a driver in the country's economy, yet they continue to be disadvantaged because of their race and oftentimes their gender.
How do I say this nicely? It's like you have this beautiful picture. I look at it as selling, and I've always said that is I don't like how they portray the Kalinago people. It's like you're selling us. You're always advertising us. Come to Dominica, come to this, and you will see the Kalinago people. What is that? It's like, really, we are not objects. We are not objects. And I feel like we have been objectified. Like, okay, this is a tourism site. I've never really liked it, and I really do think that it is. They are selling us out in a. I just don't want to use the term, but it's like modern day prostitution. Basically, we're just being out there. Like, come, we're being advertised. You have the pictures, and yet the people who do it, they don't even take time to get to know the Kalinago people. What do you know about the Kalinago people? They use Kalinago people to get revenues, to get monies, to do things. And then we don't even see half of it.
It's good to be on the front page. It's good when people can know about you, know about your tradition, and come to love it and want to come to your country, your community, to see what's going on. This is awesome for me because I like to be on stage. But after all the promotion, we don't see too much of the finances coming into our community.
According to Naomi Bellet, women of the Kalinago territory are on a journey of empowerment. Today, they encourage each other to get an education. They advocate for a resolution to their social and economic issues. And most of all, they stand up for themselves.
Comparing then to now, Kalinago women, we have worked very hard to be seen and to be heard. It hasn't been easy, but we've come such a long way. And I must say hats off to our women and to our people and the people who have influenced us positively. And even, you can use the negativity because yes, you pushed me so hard that I had to prove to you that, hey, I'm better than this. I am not who you think I am.
Right now, when it comes to my children, I ain't letting anybody mess with them. I actually even teaching them to accept who they are, and from either side, don't teach racism to my children because I mean they're mixed, and sometimes even here somebody might say little negwes and think it's funny. It's not funny to me. I told them when we're in Portsmouth, nobody calls them Quaib. They call them by their names. So the same thing when they're here, don't call them negwes, call them by their names. So it's both ways sometimes.
There's always room for improvement. So I'd say that we are not where we want to be or where we should be, but it is way better than the treatments we received before.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to listen to a repeat, follow at blackislandgirl.com/podcast.